2.5 years ago, we got our first Briiv filter.
Is it 2.5 years?
2.5 years ago. And we've just been sent the Briiv 2 Pro.
Yeah.
And I've got to say, the upgrades are pretty cool.
So we've been working very hard over at the Briiv team for the last 2.5 years, because you can see that, because the upgrades are really fantastic. There is some really cool tech in this filter.
I mean, at first glance, the design still looks quite similar, other than the little grooves at the bottom. It still looks fantastic, and they've changed the moss, which I think from an aesthetic perspective, if you've had the original Briiv compared to the Briiv 2 Pro, I think the moss is, when you first look at it, that's the biggest difference between the two.
Yeah, I mean, kind of like, why fix what's not broken? They nailed the design the first time. It looks awesome. It's slick, it's modern, it's clean, it's aesthetically pleasing. It works in all interiors.
Yeah, totally.
And why change that? I mean, we're in a 200-year-old farmhouse. We have got very kind of boho chic, kind of rustic, eclectic interiors. And this is a very, very modern piece of kit. And it does not look out of place in our home. In fact, it just kind of disappears and blends in with our home.
I mean, we're already surprised with the original just to see how well it works, that it actually does purify the air.
Yeah.
When you think that you've got coconut husks and moss, and you think, how is this actually going to work to purify the air in your house? And it genuinely does work. It kept the same fundamentals of that. It's still doing the same thing. It still works fantastically well.
Yeah.
So when we're cooking, we've got it in the kitchen. It really does pull the smells out. When there's things like allergens, it really does work, and it just extracts everything from the air. And I just find it just works so incredibly well.
It is a workhorse. When you compare it to some of the other air purifiers and air filters that we have reviewed over the years, they are huge. They take up floor space, they're big, they're bulky. I just fell in love with the brand instantly on day one, and my love for them has not changed, and now they've just exceeded the expectation again on this Pro. I love the fact that all the filters are, natural. You've got your charcoal filter, you've got your moss filter, you've got your hemp coconut husk filter, and I just love this. It just works. It does the job, it looks gorgeous.
And the thing that surprised me about our original Briiv is that the moss is still pretty much the same as it was on day one. It's still green, it's still vibrant. I appreciate that we're in the UK, so there's a lot of humidity around, so there's a lot of moisture for the moss to actually continue thriving.
Yeah.
But the fact that it still is in such good nick and it's still getting the job done is just incredible. So there are two new models that have come out. There's the Briiv 2 and then there's the Briiv 2 Pro. We've got the Pro. The Briiv 2 is very much, I think, the same design as the original Briiv, except it's got the fins along the bottom. So there's a slight design change to that.
Yeah.
But other than that, feature-wise, it's still very much like the original Briiv.
It is very similar, but I think that with that one, it actually has the diffuser in it. So that's kind of like your main difference between the original Briiv and the Briiv 2, is that it now has a diffuser. They all have Alexa integrated into them, though we don't use Alexa. We don't.
We're Team Apple.
But the Briiv 2 Pro has the AI. So it has an AI-driven air sensor. It has the intelligence to basically come on by itself, and when it can sense that it needs to clean the air. And it also, I think, basically starts to track, so intelligently monitors your air. But even without the AI and the monitoring, which I actually think is great, and it's working really, really well for us, they all have scheduling. So you can just schedule it off your phone anyway. So even if you had the original or you had the Briiv 2, you could just put it on a schedule. And of course you can the same with the Pro.
But I actually have found the sensor to be quite brilliant because it does a lot of different things.
Yeah.
So it's not only monitoring things like VOCs, it's checking for air quality, it's checking for allergens, it's checking for a lot of different things in the actual air, and it's tracking your humidity and air quality. So you actually, once it's plugged in, you can actually see the quality of the air over a span of time. You can actually see how and when all different things impact the air quality within your room. It's actually being able to track all of those things. But the fact that it actually does that automatically, and so when the sensor actually picks up, that there is VOCs or that there are smells in the room, it'll just trigger, turn on automatically.
And then they all have, whether it's the Briiv or the Briiv 2 or the Briiv 2 Pro, they all have 4 speed levels.
And the top speed level is quite loud on the Briiv 2 Pro. you can actually hear it from quite far down the room. But when you actually set it on the lowest speed, it's actually quite quiet.
Yeah, and the really awesome thing is that you can actually link up multiple devices. So whether you've got the original or you've got the Briiv 2 or the Briiv 2 Pro, you can link them all up. They don't all have to be the same. They can be a mixed match of different ones. I think that the difference is that the Briiv 2 Pro can be your controller, so that can control other units. We'll actually connect these two to talk to each other, so that's really great as well.
And that makes a lot of sense because that's got the sensor, so if we are cooking downstairs and we want the one upstairs, because the smells can actually waft up the stairs, to be able for them to both come on at the same time without one being on the schedule, it's actually very clever.
It's a gorgeous product, and I think, you know, especially if you're moving into a new home, or you're looking for a pricier home gift for someone, or you're looking for a new addition to your home, I think it's a really beautiful product to have in your home.
So I would definitely recommend it without hesitation. I mean, I just think it's just one of the coolest products that we've reviewed in years.
Yeah.
And it's just something that, as you said, just makes a fantastic gift.
Yeah.
Or just a lovely talking point to have inside your own home.
And, you know, bravo to the team. Can we just give, like, you know, you guys are doing a great job, and it's lovely to see a small business that had launched something innovative, and, you know, 2.5 years, they're still going strong, they're still pushing, they're still working hard, but they're still producing something that is very professional, very beautifully made. If I was looking for something in that price point, especially as a gift, or to buy in a home, I think, you know, it's a beautiful thing, and you're going to have it for very, very many years.
So if you've got any questions, pop them below. We'll be happy to answer those. And we'll see you in our next video. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.